All right, welcome everybody to another struggle video. Me struggling to do DSA, and we're on to a algorithm of two pointers. I've been going back and forth of two pointers or sliding windows because they are very similar. I do think you use pretty much the same type of similar coding patterns, um, and I feel like if I learn the coding patterns, eventually I'll figure this out. So we're going to go to this problem called sort colors. And let's read, I guess, the scenario, the question, scenario. Given an array of nums within objects colored red, white, blue, sort them in place so that the objects of the same color are adjacent, with the colors in the order red, white, and blue. We will use integers as 0, 1, and 2, representing color red, white, and blue, respectively. You must solve this problem without using the library sort function. I see. So, okay, because I definitely know that there's already a sort function within PHP. I don't know if I want to use other language. I'll just start using PHP. And this probably is going to be the same scenario where I'm going to do my best to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out in like less than 15 minutes, then I guess I'll use Gemini for assistance. But I just realized once they mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah, there is a sort function. So it could sort ascending or descending. So it'd just be a lot easier just to sort them as they're supposed to. Um, but since this is a two-pointer problem, I'm curious if because there's different types of pointers, right? There's ones where it's gonna be right and left, right? So there's going to be a right pointer that's going to be the beginning, a left pointer is going to be the end, and then there's two pointers where one pointer is going to be um, at the start, and the second pointer is going to be on the second value. So it's like the index or the first value is going to be on the first pointer, the second pointer is going to be the second value, or and maybe that's actually the best way to use it because I can't really see how putting a pointer all the way to the end is going to help, you know? I think they should be alongside each other. So I think they should be alongside each other, and you're probably going to evaluate, okay, um is the first value higher than the second value or something like that? And if it is, swap it. If it's not, then continue, you know? And then I guess you'll move the second pointer to the next one, and you'll say, is the first value higher than is the first value higher than the third value? And if it is, swap it. Like it'll continue to go in that fashion. Um, but I guess there needs to be some type of mechanism, some motivators that will move the second pointer and also move the first pointer. I don't know if the first pointer should always be stagnant. So I guess if I guess okay, so if the first value is going to check whether or not or the first pointer is going to check whether or not the value that is pointing to is higher than the second pointer's value. If the second pointer's value Well, I guess if the second pointer value is higher than the first pointer's value, that's good. But the second pointer's value, I don't know when to make the swapping. But at this moment, here's my thought process. So we're going to have a variable called length, and it's not string that's length. I think there's something called count. Great. And there has to be two pointers. Okay, great. That's fine. So we'll have to have a for loop with the index of I, or maybe I should have the index of 1, and it will be 0, and it will have to be less than. Wouldn't it be length minus 1? So I would think it's like 1 of lane minus 1, right? And then you do 1 plus plus, right? Um, and there needs to be a condition where you look at the pointer for 1 and 2. And I guess 1 would be, hmm, I guess the second pointer should be 2, and we should just immediately give it just 1, right? Uh, and then we'll return, I don't know, I'll get something called output or some shit. Output. Um, and we'll return out. Great. So now we need to check if 1, oh, and matter of fact, we should, hmm, I'm gonna put O. I'm gonna put O to represent like even a shorter version of 1. So we'll have a nums, and we'll have 1, and then we'll have T for 2, and this will be nums of 2. That'll be a second pointer. Now I still need to figure out what would be the motivation for the first pointer to move up, right? And there needs to be some type of swapping that happens. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, if O is higher than T, then what should happen? What should happen is O needs to replace T. So naturally, mm, I wonder if both of them should scoot, like after there is some situation where O is higher than. Maybe both should be moving forward because okay, here's my logic right now. Okay, there's T02. Okay, let's say pointer 1, pointer 2 is here, and we say is O higher than T. It is. So we'll have an array which is out. It's going to be out. Matter of fact, I should define it as an array. And instead of put T of O, I'll put, I will put 2, nums 2 first, and nums 1 second, and then we'll scoot it. So then this will be pointer 1 will be here, and pointer 2 will be here. But it's already switched, so it'd be like 0, 2. It'd be 0, 2, 2. So then pointer 1 be 0 to 2. So pointer 1 would be 2, and pointer 2 would be 2. And then it'll say, okay, is 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 2 and 2 greater than? Is 2 and 2 greater than? If it ain't, okay, leave it. So then you just So then you just have 022 and you store it within out. But you always have to scoot. But the issue is once you get to a point where is two, because you need to go back. I guess you would have to keep, if there's like zeros all the way over here, how would you be able to? So maybe there shouldn't be the pointers shouldn't be alongside each other. Maybe the pointers should actually be toward, you know, right, have a right pointer and left pointer. So the left pointer should be all the way toward the end. But if that's going to be the case, so I have the right pointer. Hmm. And let me actually look at the length. I gotta look into this one. Nums n will equal nums length, and n is equivalent to nums length. That'd be 1 to 300. It could be either 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, or 2. This is pretty much swapping, but I'm trying to think of the best way to swap. And apparently 70% of people were able to pass this. And I feel so dumb right now. Mm, 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 mm. So how would I do it with right left pointer? Because if I'm doing it this way, how would I be able to place it at the top? Oh, you know what? I think this is easy. I think I got it. So my thinking is now, okay, we have a for loop and then we have another for loop. So we have one for loop that is going to just get the one and the two, or just get the one value. And then another for loop is going to go all the way toward the end and check if this value that's at the beginning is less than the value that's at the start. If it is, then we would have to swap it. So, how do you do swapping exactly? I guess you would just put, yeah, I think that's just all you got to do. Let me check, let me see if my logic, okay, so let me actually put another loop and we will have two, right? And two will be, um, should it just be length? I think it's length minus one. Is it length minus one? And as two, as long as two is greater than, should be greater than one, two minus minus, and then what we're going to do is just check it. So we have to look at the front and the back, and then we'll have to do like a swap if we determine that two is actually less than the value that's in the front. But then we have to determine if the value is at the, I guess we don't even have to do that either. I don't know if I should just do that. Oh, and I don't need to do length. I meant lane. Um, and now I don't think I need to do this anymore because they're not going to be alongside each other. And this doesn't need to happen to be here either. So my logic now, 2 is going to be all the way towards the end. It might, you know what? Yeah, you do have to do this. You have to do 2 minus, okay, lane minus 1, and I'm thinking 0 actually. But now now you have to actually have the logic where you have to evaluate if 2 is less than, oh, I need to, oh, I need to do this. Boop, 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 and put 2 here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And let's check, let's check, let's check. Sorry, I had to scratch or rub my eye, I mean. All right, so then we say, okay, is T less than, oh, I meant to put O. And man, I should be checking the answer at this moment. But now it's so funny because I'm thinking to myself, how do I do this properly? And now that I want to like implement it, it's like all I was going to do is check if T is less than O, then swap. So that means you have to get the value. Well, you already got the values. So that means nums of nums of 2 or nums of 1 should get uh, 2 T, and then nums of 2 should get O. And then we allow that to happen constantly, constantly, constantly. And within that, it would sort, right? It would constantly just swap out. It will check, okay, is this value? Is this value? And as I think that will work. And I guess all we have to do now is just assign nums to out or something. Let's see if that works. And if it doesn't, I'm going to look. I honestly think I don't have enough time to really, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't want to save that. But I honestly think I don't have enough time, or maybe my brain I just don't think of the coding pattern that just will automatically figure it out. I think let's try it because I got 7 minutes left. Okay, I'm not sure how that happened. Okay, let's ask Gemini. I'm going to ask him a very specific question. Why did I get, why did my code get the problem wrong? And what is the solution? What is the actual solution? Okay, let me read this. Your implementation attempt to use nested loops to swap elements. There are 2 primary bugs causing the wrong answers. Stale variable cache. Um, oh, the stale. Yeah. I mean, at the same time, oh yeah, 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 because every time I'm swapping, it's not getting the right one. That's a good point. Um, Inside the outer loop, you cache, oh, whenever a swap occurred inside the inner loop, nums one was updated in memory, but zero was never refreshed. Subsequent iterations of two continue comparing the old, outdated value of overriding valid elements with duplicates, incorrect loop bounds. Yeah, yeah, I just realized that. Uh, the inner loop two uh, iterates past one all the way down to index one, swapping the elements that appear before one disrupts the elements that were already processed. Optimal solution, Dutch national flag algorithm. One pass with O of one constant extra space using Dijkstra's Dutch national algorithm with 3 pointers. 3 pointers, you say? Boundary for zeros. Everything before low is zero. Current element under inspection. Boundary for two. Everything after high is two. So let me see at the implementation. So you have low, medium, high, mid, and high. And it's count nums minus one. Okay. And it says while mid is high. While mid is high. If nums mid is equivalent to zero, swap to the low section. Okay. Nums low, nums mid. So nums low is a temp. Nums mid would be the same thing. And nums mid would be temp. Low plus plus, mid plus plus. Else if nums mid is equivalent to is in one is in the correct middle position. Plus plus. Else nums is equivalent to 2. Swap to the high section. Temp nums high. Nums high equals nums mid. Okay, and nums mid would be temp. High minus minus. Do not increment mid here because the newly swapped element from high needs to be evaluated in the next turn. This is so weird. So it's only checking within its if statement, it's only checking if the mid is equivalent to 1, then you have to move it up. So in the case of, let me see this. Let me actually evaluate for example 1. So if that worked, so what would the count be? The count would be, it looks like 5 for high. So mid is already 0, so it would do a swap. It would do a swap of pretty much the same value because both of them are so it'd be like 2 2, nothing happens. But low is increased by 1 and mid is increased by 1. Okay. And now that mid is increased by 1, it loops again. And now mid will be increased by 2. So now 1 will be here, low will be here, mid would be here, high would be 0. Okay. Now, while low is mid to high, if it's 0, if it's 1, else it's going to do a swap. Everything is going to be swapped now. So low is here, low is here, mid is here now, and now it's just constantly doing a swap. Um, so then it looks for the temps of high, which would be 0, and 0 is now applied here, and then nums mid, which is currently 2, and that would be applied to high. So now this is 2, and then nums mid would be temp, which will be 0, and then you minus the high, and then it goes again. And nums mid is still here, but it'll be 0 now instead of 2, and this high will be 1. I'm just, eesh. Okay, Dutch national flag algorithm? I have never heard of this. I've actually seen this low, mid, high pointer situation, but I never truly figured it out. Uh, in any case, yeah, I'm still bad at algorithms. So I'm going to end it right here.